There's a verse in the Bible that says we love because God first loved us. And I have experienced that to be true, that I was first loved by God, and that gives me the freedom to love others now in a way that I never could have before.
Your iconic moment in your life.
I felt like every day I wake up and I try to be a good person, and almost immediately I fail. I hit a point where I felt really hopeless because I thought I'm too far gone. That changed the whole way that I look at my life, because now I don't see it as belonging to me, but belonging to God. There's many little points in my life that brought me to where I am today, but I think that moment is the one that has defined the rest of my life.
You work with many students in Indonesia. Have you find interesting about them? I mean, like what they do or what they say or something like how they act?
I'm gonna miss much about Indonesia. The number one thing I'm gonna miss is
if you have one message to the world, what the message would be?
I would want the whole world to know that God loves them. I would say God loves you and He wants to have a relationship with you. Wow, that's a very broad question.
That's the first question.
Uh-oh.
So since you're here, I'm really glad that you want to talk with me in this podcast. This is my first episode, by the way.
Oh, wow.
So you're my first guest.
It's an honor.
Yeah. So guys, this is Emma, and this episode called Getting to Know Emma. For you guys who don't know Emma, I just know her for 3 months, I guess, and I want to ask you a couple questions. The first question is, consider me as your best friend. What do you want me to know about yourself?
Wow, that's a very broad question.
That's the first question.
Uh-oh. I think there's deep and shallow ways to answer that question. I think on the shallow level, I'm 25 years old and I have many different hobbies and passions. I love reading and writing fiction, and I love biology and other kinds of science.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm here in Indonesia for 1 year studying Bahasa Indonesia, and I love Indonesian culture. I think on a deeper level, I am really passionate about helping people learn how to navigate the world and mentoring people. And I get really excited when people feel like they are growing.
What I've got from what you say is your mission is to serving others.
I think I didn't used to be like that. I think my goals used to be very focused on myself and my own ambition or my own just passion or pleasure. But there's a verse in the Bible that says we love because God first loved us. And I have experienced that to be true, that I was first loved by God, and that gives me the freedom to love others now in a way that I never could have before.
You found your purpose when you finally realized that God is everything.
Yeah.
The second question, your iconic moment in your life.
Oh, that's another deep question. Oh, I have to think.
Please take your time.
I think there's many small moments that if any of them hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
I think if it all had to boil down to just one iconic moment, that would be during my first year in university, where during my second semester, I was really sad. I was getting homesick, and my classes weren't going well, and I was wrestling with all of these questions, like I really like writing stories, but it distracts me from time with God, or I really like pursue my ambitions and have a good career, but I know that that's selfish and that's not honoring to God. And I felt very far from God in many ways. And I felt like every day I wake up and I try to be a good person, and almost immediately I fail at being a good person. And so that must mean that God is really angry at me. And I hit a point where I felt really hopeless because I thought I'm too far gone, that I'm so far that God could never love me anymore. But actually, in that point, even though I felt like I was trying so hard to earn God's love, now looking back, I see that actually God was chasing me that whole time. And He used that time to show me that I'm a sinner and that I need His grace. And He also used that time to remind me that His love for me is more than I can understand, and that He's not just angrily watching for me to make a mistake, but that actually He loves me so much that He sent Jesus to die to pay for my sins, and that makes a way for me to be reconnected with Him. And so after I understood that and I repented for the first time and made God the Lord over my life instead of me, that changed the whole way that I look at my life, because now I don't see it as belonging to me but belonging to God. There's many little points in my life that brought me to where I am today, but I think that moment is the one that has defined the rest of my life.
That's beautiful. You always been nice to me. You always remember God in each of your step. I think not everyone can do that. Sometimes they feel like their superiority, like taking over themselves. But you always down to earth, and you always put everything on God's willing. I mean, sees God in everywhere. And I think that's very inspiring. And you teach a lot since we know each other. You teach a lot about God. You remind me that God in everywhere. And that's very beautiful, I think. That's very beautiful. You work with many students in Indonesia. Have you find interesting about them? I mean, like what they do or what they say or something like how they act?
I think something really cool about Indonesian students is that they do a lot of projects, like a lot of group projects for school. But I think in the US, group projects are pretty rare.
Really?
Yeah, I think maybe in a semester you would have like 4 exams and maybe 1 group project. Most of my classes didn't have any group projects. And when you do have a group project, they're kind of famous for being horrible, because you always have like 2 people who are doing the work and 2 people who are not doing the work.
Yeah. That's happened here.
It happens here too.
It's happened
Okay,
here.
that's good to know. But yeah, I was surprised to see how often there are group projects here and how people seem to enjoy them. And even like maybe one class, all of the assignments are group projects.
Yeah.
That I think that kind of shows that American culture is much more individualist than Indonesian. They don't like working together, and I think in America people sometimes don't know how to work together. I'm gonna miss much about Indonesia, but the number one thing I'm gonna miss is how people here are very friendly. Sometimes we say Indonesians are friendly. People we're talking to don't believe us. The Asians think, what? But I think people in America are very polite. If you sit down and have a conversation with them, they'll like listen to you. But most people in America are not looking to make more, so they won't really like open up to you. They want to stay in touch with you afterwards. But I've experienced many here. Even in a group of people, like a stranger joins like a circle, then everybody will like ask them their name and like try to get to know them. And then we've experienced that with us as well. I really appreciate just that openness to new relationships. That's very refreshing after being in America.
If you have one message to the world, let's say that you have a power to spread a message to the world, what the message would be?
I would want the whole world to know that God loves them. I would say God loves you and He wants to have a relationship with you.
Do you have something to share with my audience?
One thing that your audience should know about you is that you're very cool.
Really?
Yeah, I think thoughtfulness can come up in many ways. One way is you can tell when someone has thought about an issue for a long time and they have thought it from multiple angles. And I see that in different viewpoints that you have. I think the way that you see that someone is a deep thinker is when they ask questions
Yeah.
to other people, and when they not only ask questions but listen to the full answer, like the really long version of the answer, without interrupting or asking clarifying questions, no matter what direction the conversation goes. And that's something that I've experienced from you. So I can tell that you're a really thoughtful person.
I appreciate it.
And I think you're going to make a great podcast host, because asking questions is an excellent podcast host skill.
Thank you. I think that there's some quality I need to improve in myself. The quality I learned last year is how to listen. Because we live in the world, there are so many things happen. We are just busy with social media, with our phone, with our friends, with everything, that we forgot to listen. And what I told you about my friends, I just realized that listening is so important. Even when you are listening a stranger. Because when you don't listen that person, you don't give them a time to explain themselves, that person feels like their voice doesn't matter. And I'm really afraid if you feel like you're being heard, and I appreciate that. But I still learning, because it doesn't always happen to me. Sometimes I just feel like there's no time to have a conversation, a long conversation, or these people talking sense, and I feel like I want to go. So if you feel like about me, I feel like thank you so much.
That means all that practice has been put to good.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being nice here. I hope whatever you dream, whatever you expected is completed. For now, let's say that we have a good time for over 3 months. We know each other.
Yeah.
Since November, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it's Thanksgiving event.
Yes. Yeah. And still 2 more months here until we leave, so we still have some time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a blast. Okay, that's all. Thank you, Emma.
Anytime.